In this tutorial, we're going to be covering how to make circles using floor tiles. This is not meant to be precise and perfect. It is intentionally rough to give you an idea of how to build the basics of these. This is using a template on the ground that will allow you to be able to recreate this same circle multiple times. Let's begin. The first thing you're going to want to do is select a good location to set up the build. I usually like to pick something that is extremely flat, such as a plateau. So for example, I am atop a plateau in the grasslands. Notice how incredibly flat this is. You're then going to take a foundation block. You can select the 4x4x2 wood foundation 01. I'm just going to place that right here in the center of the plateau or the area where you want to build the circle. We're then going to take the blue swivel, place that directly on top, centered on that foundation. From here you will take a floor plate. For this particular build, we're going to use two 16x2x1 boards from the Daily Bugle. So we're going to take that, place it atop the swivel, and then we're going to use our nudge to bring it just off of that yellow square. And then we're going to snap that down. Then we're going to do the opposite on the other side. So I'm holding snap here on the left hand side, then going 2 over and placing that swivel. This will be the diameter of the circle that we are going to build. Then going to go and grab a foundation block again. I'm going to place that on the edge of this one here, and then go back 1 and 2. Go back 2 pegs here. Snap that down. Grab a small thruster. Place this on the side so that is facing outward from the center of the circle. You're going to take a 6x2x1 floor piece. You're going to look at the edge of the thruster onto this black part. You'll notice that the floor tile flips up on its side. Normally it would look like this. Looking at the side, it flips up like so. And then when you move your mouse or your joystick from left to right, you'll see that piece move. So we're going to bring it out here. We're going to nudge it down and then bring it flush until it turns green. We will center that and place it right there. You can then break the foundation block here. And we're going to place another one of the 6x2x1 floors atop the one that we just placed, perpendicular to it. I am holding my snap, and then that goes straight up from there. You will then break the first one that you placed, and this is the item that we will use to build our circle. For balancing, you can take another one of these 6x2x1 floor pieces and place them over here so that this is evenly distributed. Now, you'll want to make sure that you don't accidentally hit this in the first step. You're going to come out here to the side. You will grab another floor plate, snap to the bottom of this, and then we are going to nudge down until it is no longer touching the device. So this is 2 below. I'm going to snap that down. We can then take our character and physically push this out of the way. You will then again take the same 6x2x1 floor plate and place it atop the one that's in the ground here. Then you're going to go and use your character to push this swivel right up next to the piece. Now, taking another 6x2x1, holding my snap to the bottom of that plate, going to move it down to be flush with the first one that we placed. So, make sure it's not touching here. Come down to, snap that in. We're then going to use our character to push this out of the way. Grab another floor piece. Snap it to this third one here, right next to the other. Use your character to push the swivel back up here. Now each time you push this, you will want to check the gap between these 2 floor pieces, the one on the left and the one on the right. You want this to be as small as possible, and you bring that as flush as you can. It won't always be this perfect, but as long as it's touching and very close, you should be able to easily snap the piece on, move it down, put it in place, move your swivel out of the way, and place another tile. We're going to do this all the way around the circle until we have a nice full pattern on the ground. See, here it didn't quite move up. I'm going to go and try and push that a little more. There we go. It's nice and flush. So grab our floor tile again, snap to the bottom, move it down to push it out of the way, place another floor tile atop that, snapping to the bottom one below it. Use your character to push the swivel back into place. If it's not as flush as you would like, try and push it again. Sometimes it's not always going to move for you. So what you want to do, move that back, push it again. It's a little bit of trial and error. There we go. And this actually might be too close. Notice how the line for the swivel floor plate is actually inside of the line for the other. When you hold your snap, it likely will not. Yeah, see, there's an object in the way. So we're going to do it again. We're going to go back, push it, come back here on the other side, push it back again. It does not have to always be perfect. So you see this thin black line here? It's not quite as flush as these other four were, but it is more than close enough to allow us to snap this down and have a joined circle. So I'm going to take here, put that in, move this out of the way, and go to the next step. So having placed it, I will again push the swivel into place, come around here. As long as the gap is not too large, I think I can get a little closer for this one. And see, that's a little too close. So anytime you get it too close or it won't allow you to snap, you can see the lines intersecting there. Just push it back, push it in. It's a bit of trial and error, but as you go, this will eventually create a circle for you, piece by piece. There we go. Move that into place. I'm going to speed up the video for a few minutes. About a quarter of the way around the circle, and I want to note a few troubleshooting methods you can take. If you cannot get the tiles to come close enough together, there are a few things you can do. The first one is to use a thruster. Now, what you're going to want to do is take a small thruster, and for this size, I would recommend not putting it out here, but rather going inward, placing it about there, taking a trigger plate, so the one that's silver and red, placing it here beside that. And then with this up next to it, you'll press the button. And there we go. You can see how that moved it just a little bit closer as we snapped this down. So let the thruster expend itself. Remove this piece, and with this a bit closer, go ahead and place that in. I'm going to use this technique a few more times on larger builds, so you'll see it a few more times. But this is one troubleshooting method to get these just a bit closer. Now here's one of the drawbacks, and sometimes a thruster is able to push the tiles through one another. You obviously don't want that to happen, and it can be rather difficult to get them back out. Sometimes it will allow you to push it like this, but if not, your alternative would be to take a larger thruster on the opposite side to push it out. It's not perfect, and so because of that, we're going to try something else. So, let's break these off. I don't need to worry about this thing. What we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and break these two since they're not quite what I would like. I've got about a quarter circle already. I'm going to intentionally join this entire piece to the swivel. So, what we'll do is push this up here, and instead of moving this a full 2 notches down, we're going to intentionally leave it right here next to the swivel. And when I click that into place, it should join the entire apparatus to, so notice we can't move now. Then what you'll do is go around here and you can break these bottom ones. So you want to be extremely careful not to accidentally break the top ones. If you do break a top one, replace it with the bottom. Right, so for example, if you broke this one, what you would want to do is, oops, I didn't mean to break that one. Use the bottom one to rebuild the top, and then retry again by breaking the bottom. Go around and break all of those bottom pieces. So, what we've done is we have the entire quarter circle here joined to our plate. I'm going to take and put one more piece up here. It's going to be here, because I want to make sure they stay joined together. Then I'm going to break this bottom piece down here. Alright. So now we should be able to push this around and use it as our frame. So, with a quarter circle here, we're going to basically take the same technique we did before of holding our snap, moving down to so that we're not touching the circle. We're going to go around and place full quarter into the ground. And then after we do this, obviously we will move it and place a whole nother full quarter right next to this one. This method is more often than not the way that I've been building some of my ladder circles, simply because, I'm going to leave that piece off, simply because it allows you to quicken the process. You don't have to go through all of the pieces that must attach. I'm going to take and place one block right here so that this block and the last piece here will butt up next to each other. Push that into place, push it around until we get it to really butt right up next to it. And if it won't, we can always try coming around on the other side or trying a thruster, getting it to connect. So to switch directions, for example, instead of coming from this end, you come around here, place your tile on the opposite end, and then push this into place to get another semicircle there, and join them together, and then snap them down. And again, something you can do if you can't get these to touch or become close enough, you can come in here to the inside of the circle, place a trigger plate and a thruster, press the button, jump over here, grab your floor tile, holding snap, move that down, and you'll see that move there. Wait for the thruster to stop, break this piece at the bottom, and then holding snap will move these into place. So, then when we would move this back again and break this tile here, it's another piece to hold it. We're going to use our pressure plate. First we push this up here physically, and it's not quite touching. So here, press our button, jump over there, grab our floor tile, snap it in, wait for the thruster to stop, break the floor tile, and then snap these in. So, pressure plate, jump, floor tile, holding snap, nudge that down, there's the move, we wait for this to stop, we break the floor tile, grab another floor plate, and then nudge that in. Okay, now, when you get to the end of your circle, you're going to find a few small gaps. One will be wherever the last tile is going to go. Right? We can't put a tile into a space that small. Another may be places like this, where you've got a little bit larger of a gap than what you would expect. Not entirely sure if those will connect. You can actually test them, putting a tile here, and holding this one and moving up. So, you can see here that we know that that gap's not too big, because this one is not touching the one below it, and it's holding on. The other thing you can do is to take, and we're going to go ahead and break our semicircle first. So let's take these pieces off. Break this one up top because we don't need that extra weight. Now the other thing you can do about the gaps is to add a second layer on the inside. What we're going to do, seeing this here, we're going to physically push that up there, get it close enough, jump back here so we can see the back of the tile, and then without holding snap, I'm nudging this down and putting that right there. I'm going to break the next one, remove this. Or alternatively, instead of going all the way around, you can push this on the other side here. Place that block down, and then physically push this up next to it. Again, and we're not holding snap, we're just simply pointing this toward the one in front of it, moving that down. Using these inner tiles here, going to place just one. What you're going to do is take and holding snap on the outer ring, nudge this up about 2 blocks, and then go all the way around the ring doing this. Holding our snap onto the bottom ring, nudging up to the upper ring, and by doing so you're allowing yourself to know that these pieces are definitely hanging on to one another and not just sitting beside each other, because now they're hanging in the air. So I'm just going all the way around the circle and snap these into place. If your swivel gets in the way, you may need to break it. I would recommend not ever removing this piece, the center. Help you maintain the center of your circle for your template, because we are going to leave this bottom circle on the ground create future circles. Again, we're just holding snap, looking at the bottom row, and then nudging these up into the top row. So there's one that doesn't have support. Let's do this. Put one right here, come back around to the outside, and then nudge that up. So the piece behind it is actually what's holding it. There's another one. We can again come back here. We're going to nudge just one over, and then on the front here, allowing that back piece to hold the front piece in place. There's another one. Nudge that one over, placing the piece. Now sometimes you'll get this. Object is in the way. So we're going to break that. That means we'll probably have to come from this other direction. So back over here, push that one up behind, and come up to put this one here. Okay, so that's got those held into place, but because we know there's a weak point here, I'm also going to put a backing on it to hold that in place right there. Do another one right here just in case. Got the whole circle all the way around. We're going to have a small gap back here that we're going to replace with these back tiles. When I break this, the whole piece will break and fall. Let's do that. If I try and join this piece now while it's on the ground, it's going to rejoin the whole structure. We don't want to do that. So instead, I'm going to come over here and place a balloon to lift this up. If it takes more than one, just put a couple of go. We wanted to get that off of our template. Nudge this out of the way, and then we can come up under, place that. So that's the basics of the circle. It is not perfect. You will have small errors. I would recommend trying it multiple times with different sizes. If you remember, we started with just a couple of 16 by 2 by 1 pieces placed onto here. Different sizes will fit together better. Some of my better circles that I've created have been by coming in one notch or out one notch and then trying again with the circle. When you get to larger sizes, which I will cover in another video, you'll have to use thrusters to move this. Once it gets to a certain weight, you can't just move it with your body. You have to use thrusters. Get some practice and build something cool.